I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Tuesday, November the 16th, brought to you in part by Safeguard. Safeguard wants to know, is your dewormer working? Text the word SAFE to 48109 to receive a free fecal test kit for your cattle and be entered to win 100 doses of Safeguard pellets and a feed bunk. Lighter and greener Showlists, and if you guys have listened to me for a long time, you know that I don't take a whole lot of stock in Showlist reports, but early this week they're significantly lower, and everybody you talk to is saying that too. But these Showlists have got green cattle on them. They're smaller, and your packers are still wanting to go through them. And everybody I talk to that's in the business of selling fat cattle say, I've got cattle on there. I usually make a list there, and they'll usually come in there and just cream the list. If they'll even give me a bid or try to buy any cattle at all. Now they want to go through the whole list, and they want to sweep the list and maybe drive around the yard and ask about this set of cattle or that set of cattle. They are needing cattle. And we had the largest movement that we've had this calendar year, negotiated cash. It's been over a year since we've had such a big pure negotiated cash movement as we did last week. And so we're seeing that. But this is only going to get worse, guys. It's going to get worse as we go through the end of the year. Your packers may be kind of hoping for a vax mandate slowdown here, because they're not going to have a lot of product out there, not enough cattle to hang on the hooks. But every week it's just going to get progressively worse, likely till we get through the end of the fourth quarter and well into the new year. But and these cattle are not grading near as well as what the packers have gotten used to and what they like. And but by the time we get to Christmas, before Christmas, sometime as we get into December, we are going to start to see the first of those double stock yearlings that come off the big pastures, in the middle of the summer, whenever they have to move those cattle. And those cattle will grade. Those cattle have a tick of age to them. They were short yearlings when they turned them out. They were good green yearlings whenever they pulled them off, and those cattle went right to the feed. And those are their best doing cattle of the whole year. No telling what they gained. The cost of gains are going to be higher because of the cost of the feed, but they're going to be high performance cattle, and those cattle will absolutely grade their heads off whenever they get here. But looking at your feeder cattle, we're starting to see more places that have had hard frosts. And you go on the northern plains, they've all had hard frosts. Most of your Midwesters have them. You get down in the southern plains, probably hit 32 degrees, but maybe not a hard frost. But as that happens in more places, then you see your buyers and the guys that are taking the cattle in being a little more friendly to a ball and calf. So that doesn't mean that I'm saying not to wean them, but I'm saying that they're not discounting them quite as bad. You can some guys will take a load of them, but they're still going to have their shots. And this year in particular, I've heard more people say that they're getting along pretty decent with ball and calves as long as they've had their 2 rounds of respiratory. And that's how important that is. You got to have your shots in them, guys, even if you don't wean them. But so we're starting to see your ball and calves find a few more friends out there. They want their long time weaned calves, but now we're talking about calves that have been weaned long enough, what they really want, like 90 or 100 days. Well, those are cattle are being considered short yearlings now. And since we're running out of our long yearlings, guys are buying those readily, all around your sales and places. But it's hard to find any cattle like that. And we're right in the middle of our calf run. We've seen the bulk of the calf run in the northern plains because they were so dry. They moved a lot of lighter calves early. Now we're starting to see the bulk of the calf run coming down in your southern plains and places like that. And then after the first of the year, Then we'll see the Midwest really come in, because those guys didn't want to fool with weaning their calves while they were busy with harvest. And so they waited till after they got done with harvest. Then they started weaning those calves, and then they'll wait till they have them weaned at least 45 days, and then they'll come in and sell those after the first of the year, and there's always high demand for those cattle right then. Let's talk about your board. On Monday, December live cattle futures were down just 35 cents at 131.77. We're probably not going to see your December live cattle contract run ahead of what your 5 area weighted average is, especially as we get closer to getting into the contract month. Nobody wants to get delivered on, and there's likely going to be deliveries if the market hiccups at all. That's another reason I think that we're going to have a strong fat cattle market running right through the end of the year, because we got February trading at almost a $5 premium. And so there'll be guys that will take delivery of those cattle, and there'll be guys that will deliver those cattle, and they want to make sure that things stay true. So, you know, we saw it back up 35 cents. It's still running about 30 cents higher than what we saw your weighted average in your 5 area feeding region. So, you know, don't get excited about that. February contracts were up 22 cents at 136.32. Go on your back months, your live cattle, down 17 cents to up 47 cents on your farthest out. November feeder cattle were down 32 cents at 155.92, but all the rest of them were up. And of course, November, we're getting on the backside of November. We have yet to get our index levels up to where our contracts are for our spot contract for November, running nearly 156. And your CME index is not running near that well, and your RTI is running a little bit lower than that. Of course, it's a lot more current, but that's probably going to have to tighten up quite a bit, and it's just going to jostle like they always do. And then we're going to run into December where we don't have a contract month for that. But all your other months other than your spot November were up on your feeder cattle. January was up 75 cents at 158.47. All your back months were up pretty good, from 52 cents to 85 cents. One reason that they were friendly is because your grains were much quieter than they were last week. Your weighted average on last week's negotiated fed cattle trade in your 5 area feeding region on the highest we've seen movement in a year, for sure the highest this year to date, but 103,600 head of pure negotiated cash sales. Now, is that a coincidence that we're seeing the highest market that we've seen in 5 years because we're seeing a lot of negotiated trade? You see why I like negotiated trade? You see how you gain ground when you're making the market instead of taking the market all the time? And, you know, I say all the time, it's damn hard to gain a buck when you're always selling off of last week's market. But guys sold cattle last week, 103,600. That's why the show lists are light. And a lot of those cattle, you know, could have waited 2 weeks to deliver, and some of them longer. They're taking them right away. But 103,600 compares to 80,500 the previous week, and 103,100 the same week a year ago. Now your live sales of steers and heifers went from 125 to 133, mostly 132. Your weighted average on live steers was 131.47. That was $2.24 higher than the previous week on the weighted average. Dress sales, steers and heifers, 204 to 212. I told you somebody sold a load of cattle at 212 and it got reported that way, but it was mostly 207. Weighted average on your dress steers, 206.58. That was up 377. Box beef cutout values were lower to start the week out. Choice cuts 283.20 down $1.10. Selects 267.28 down $2.25. Talk about what else is going on. How about livestock risk services? I've been telling you guys about them. They're the professionals that will help you with your livestock risk protection. Get a hold of them. They'll put you on a schedule and let you see what it's going to cost you to lock in different levels of pricing. These prices are getting pretty high, guys, And if you're going to hold cattle through the winter on wheat, and then maybe you're going to take them onto grass after that, you sure need to go on there. You know, for a few dollars a hundred, you can sleep every night and not have to worry about it. And you know you're going to make some money. All you have to do is put the weight on them and keep them alive. So get a hold of Livestock Risk Services at livestockriskservices.com. Let's talk about your feeder cattle markets. How about Beaver County Stockyards? They're going to have a big sale here on Tuesday. About 3,000 head there in Beaver, Oklahoma. And you can watch and bid right there at dvauction.com. Talk to Jeff Slatton, and he's going to have 15 loads of true yearlings. 5 of those being lighter weight yearlings weighing around 750 pounds right off the grass. Where are you going to find those? He's going to have about 500 head of long weaned calves, kind of short yearling type cattle like I was talking about just a little bit ago. And then the balance will be your new crop calves there. But going to have a really good sale. Talk to Jeff. He wants people outside the region to get to notice in that sale at Beaver County Stockyards. He says you get in there, if you're interested in buying some cattle, get on to DV Auction and or call in the office there and tell them you want to be approved and get on to DV Auction. You can view and bid on those cattle at DV Auction. Jeff Slatton says if something happens you don't like the cattle, he'll stand behind them with a guarantee. So he wants that deal to work. He did looking to make that a regional type sale barn, not just a local sale barn, and it's sure not, because he's sitting in a very rural area and marketing cattle from all over Oklahoma, Kansas, and Texas there, but cattle coming in from a long ways away. Let's talk about your feeder cattle market. Your real-time index on DV Auction late in the day on Monday, sitting at 154.26, absolutely steady with what it was the end of last week. That's unbelievable, as many cattle that were marketed on Monday and went through there and didn't change your real-time index at all. That just goes to show you that the gains that we saw through the week last week were also seen at the same levels on Monday, and it just held that real-time index based on 800-pound steer running from 7 to 899 pounds. Just held it completely steady with all those cattle being dumped in there with the huge sales that we saw around on Monday. Oklahoma National Stockyards in Oklahoma City, 13,500 head of cattle there. Big run, biggest run they've had for a while. Feeder steers steady to $3 higher. Feeder heifers were steady to $2 lower. That's telling me that there was bound to be some northern interest in there. Northern interests tend to like to buy the steers quite a bit more than they do the heifers. Of course, anybody would rather have a steer, but you get down in the southern plains, they're more price conscious and they'll buy a heifer, but that's what that kind of tells me. Your calves steady to $3 higher. Also, they said that there were more weaned calves in the offering, and that the balling calves found a few more friends there, like we was talking about a while ago. But how about a quote out of there on some calves? And you don't think about Oklahoma City being a place where you see big calf quotes. You know, you just see big droves of them coming through there. But how about National Livestock Commission, 98 head, 498-pound steer calves, are same as 500 pounds at $187.50 in central Oklahoma. That's a pretty smoky quote coming from our nation's feeder cattle market there from National Livestock Commission. I'd like to point out more sales from the other commission companies, but National is the only one that shares their information with us. It wouldn't be hard to get the rest of you guys to. We'd like to have them. How about Joplin Regional Stockyards, 7,600 head there. Feeder steers were steady. Your calves were steady to $5 higher with most of the gains seen on your steers. Big time quote out of Joplin, and they're going to have their big yearling special next Monday, so don't forget that. Big special at the regular Monday sale a week from yesterday, and they'll have a lot of true yearlings in there, guys, and they can sell them whenever they get them in there. Look at this big quote of yearlings out of Joplin on Monday. 245 head, 835-pound steers, bring 158.85, working towards 50 pounds higher than the index and about $4 and change higher than what your index is quoting, guys. That's a big time quote. Good job, Joplin Regional Stockyards. How about a sale that's still working through calves out there in the northern plains? Faith Livestock Auction in Faith, South Dakota. 6,000 head there. Market looked kind of unevenly steady, with steers being a bit lower and heifers being higher. So you don't see that typically, but we saw it in Faith on Monday there. But look at this automated market report from Cattle Market Central. Only place you'll see this market reported in this fashion unless they decide to pay for it. But how about 984 head of 4-weight steer calves, average 461 at 192.13. 1,520 head of top quality 5-weight steer calves out of Faith, South Dakota, average 545 at 174.84 on your weighted average price. On the heifers, 925 head of your little 4-weight heifer calves, average 460 at 163.36, and 1,236 head of your 5-weight heifers, average 545 at 160.45. Had a good sale in Russell, Iowa, at Russell Livestock Market there. Compared to 2 weeks ago, the market was as much as $10 higher. Well, we've seen some big gains in the last 2 weeks, and they get some really top quality cattle in there. Big quote out of Russell Livestock Market, Russell, Iowa, was 58 head, 963 pound steers, bring 163.85. You think, wow, that had to have been your Zach Tran top quote. Just hang with me a little bit, guys. But how about some big warmed up feeder steers out of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, or Worthing, South Dakota, at Sioux Falls Regional Livestock Market there. 212 head of 1,064 near beer steers right there, bring 153.35. My goodness. But the top quote that I saw anywhere on Monday, your Zach Tran top quote for the day, by far, come out of Callaway Livestock Market there, Callaway Livestock Center, and that's Jack Harrison and company. Friends of mine, they do a hell of a good job. They get cattle in there and you can't believe what they'll bring sometimes. 62 head, 788 pound yearling steers and at Kingdom City, Missouri, bring 171.75. That's your feeder flash for Tuesday.